What up, though, y'all? It's Chris, broadcasting from the D. And we got to talk about Disney. They're in the algorithm right now. And it's because they figured out that they need male viewers. I don't know why they are just now discovering this, but they somehow have figured out that taking historically male brands that women also enjoyed and turning them into female brands that no one wants to watch ain't it. So here's an article here by Variety. Let's read it and see what's going on. It says Disney boy trouble. Studio seeks original IP to win back Gen Z men amid Marvel Lucasfilm struggles. Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty aren't the only ones looking for a prince. Leadership at Walt Disney Studios has been pressing Hollywood creatives in recent months, multiple sources tell Variety, for movies that will bring young men back to the brand in a meaningful way. Young men is defined here by sources as ages 13 through 28, aka Gen Z. So, what they're admitting here indirectly is that they did indeed chase men off. They had a male audience, they had a huge male audience, and easily, I mean, they bought their male audience. All they had to do was maintain it, and for whatever reason, they did not want to do that. It says first, every film studio is looking for better ways to convert young audiences into habitual moviegoers. Numerous studies show that Gen Z men in particular are lonely, gaming obsessed group who were hampered in their formative years by COVID 19 lockdowns. Not the easiest segment to grasp, but what's surprising producers, writers, and other partners in the larger industry is that Disney has been calling for original concepts to lure the demo back to movies. Listen, Gen Z is not a difficult group to deal with. I mean, yes, they have, a particular way that they go about things, and you have to reach out to them a certain way. However, some things when it comes to just getting a male audience and retaining them are universal. Constantly preaching to the audience that they should be ashamed of being masculine, that being masculine is toxic, basically making them feel bad about having a dick. That's not really a good way to hold any generation of men's attention. And that's what Disney has done. I'd say for the last 10 years, they turned it up really heavily over the last 5 years. Some people say it goes back as far as 20 years that Disney first started really pressing, this like turnaround and dynamic where they just want to make men feel bad for being men. Everything's about the women or whatever. I don't clock it back that far, but I will concede to 10 years. It was definitely noticeable. It says this is the same Disney whose multi-billion-dollar content engines, Marvel and Lucasfilm, have sated men of all ages over almost 2 decades since the company acquired them. The sources say Disney has been seeking new IP and pitches such as splashy global adventures and treasure hunts, as well as seasonal flair like films for the Halloween corridor. The calls come as Star Wars Machine struggles to produce any film project, and the superhero genre sheds audiences by the minute. Uh, why is it that they simply were not able to identify that what they were doing with Marvel and Lucasfilm was not working? They had this female Mary Sue character in Star Wars that people were open to in the first movie of this Disney trilogy. And in the second and third movie of the new trilogy, people were just like, man, we really hate this. It was uh, basically the MCU, but Star Wars edition. And speaking of the MCU, listen, Kevin Feige, the guy who was in charge of Marvel, I cannot believe he did such a ridiculous 180. I've never seen anyone bust their ass to create something so successful and then they themselves destroy it. This whole overarching continuity that the MCU had, he did a phenomenal job of putting that together. So phenomenal, in fact, that people Well, other brands tried to replicate it. DC tried to replicate it and failed to. And Avengers Endgame, I thought, was a phenomenal send off to that 10-year arc. And he said himself, and at the time, I thought he was joking. I thought he was just talking shit, that they were going to make a strategic focus on there being more female characters than male characters in the MCU. I thought he was just talking shit because why would you do that? You have something that's so successful and working so well. Why would you do such a clear and obvious sabotage move for what you've put together? Well, he did. And it's been like, what, 6 years since Avengers Endgame? And he still hasn't seemed to pull his head out of the nosedive. For example, the Blade movie has been in development hell for what, like 7 years now, something like that. Marshala Ali was talking about leaving the project because he was unhappy with the script they were writing. They were going to have, listen, they were going to have Blade be fourth lead in his own movie behind 3 female characters. And the movie was going to teach life lessons. I kid you not. And the reason why they were having trouble moving forward is because they said, and I'm not kidding, they didn't want to just throw a black guy in leather and have him kill vampires. Like that's exactly what we watch Blade for. A black guy in leather killing vampires. They literally didn't want to give the audience exactly what they wanted. It's the craziest thing, man. So it's self-imposed. They're ruined here. But let's continue. While 2 insiders say the mandate to recruit young males goes as high as the C-suite, oh boy, that's how you know it's serious. The task primarily has fallen on David Greenbaum, the former Searchlight Producers co-head, brought on in 2024 to run Disney's live-action films business. That label has been sorely lacking in guy-leaning fare, like the Pirates of Caribbean franchise for nearly 10 years. Studio insiders say the property is in active development, though not in its last reported iteration involving Margot Robbie. Yeah, you guys, for those of you that do not know, you know how Johnny Depp got dead, what was it, like 6-7 years ago? How his ex-wife lied on him, calling him an abuser, this and that. Hollywood basically blackballed him. He sued her. He proved very capably that she was a lying piece of shit. And I mean, during that time period, Disney, with all of these female-led projects bombing, decided that they were going to do an all-female Pirates movie that nobody asked for, led by Margot Robbie. Now, I have nothing against Margot Robbie. I think she was, a good pick for Barbie. She's great in stuff that she's picked for usually. She's usually, whoever casts her understands her strengths and weaknesses, and they really do play up to her strengths. But in this case, who buys into Pirates of the Caribbean? Usually women do. I mean, guys like it too, but typically when you see a guy at a Pirates movie, he's there with his wife or his girlfriend or whatever because women really loved Johnny Depp. So you're going to take out the successful element and replace it with Margot Robbie. Women are not going to buy in, or certainly weren't going to buy into a new Pirates movie to see Margot Robbie. So that was going to fail. And the irony is that the target audience of the previous ones, which was women, were not going to show up for this new movie. And I guarantee you they were going to blame men for why it bombed. Even though Pirates of the Caribbean, they're trying to say that that's like a guy brand, but it really wasn't. But it says, to say nothing of the lackluster attempt to reboot and hand off Indiana Jones in 2023. Yeah, another movie with a male lead character that was backseat in his own movie to a female. A very insufferable, unlikable female character too. It says it earned $383 million worldwide on a $300 million budget. that means that movie did not break even. Because usually you take the budget and you double it, and that's what it takes to break even. Why? Because more often than not, the ticket sales, they split in half with the theater. So if the budget was 300 million like it was here, they need 600 million to break even. The movie took in 384 million worldwide. In places outside of the US, like in China, I believe it's like a 60-40 split for the tickets. So we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that they lost on this movie. It did not do well. It says a Disney source says that movies for Gen Z men are part of an overall strategy across all labels, but no more urgent than any other quadrant. That's a problem. Creating movies for Gen Z males needs to be a top priority. They desperately need to get men back on board because the movies for women that they're creating, no one's buying into them, including women. These feminist projects where you have some loudmouth know-it-all woman preaching to a man about how she's superior to him in every way. Men aren't going to see that, and quite frankly, women aren't either. Your average woman loves men. Your average woman doesn't want to watch some insufferable feminist character on screen being annoying. So they really desperately need to start making movies that appeal to men, because in most cases they will get the female audience anyway. It just is what it is. Why reinvent the wheel here? This strategy's always worked for you. Why reinvent the wheel here? Greenbaum recently hired Daria Sirkik, the savvy former Paramount Pictures co-chief, to assist in this effort. Greenbaum is beloved by talent, but has largely existed in the prestige indie sphere, while Sirkik shepherds films from franchises like Sonic the Hedgehog, A Quiet Place, and Smile. Some think the push for this demographic is simply Greenbaum trying to put his stamp on live action, yet numerous power players who spoke to Variety see something ominous in the tea leaves. When the execution is correct, Disney's sweet spot at the movies has been millennials. Yeah, that's true. That generation rapidly consumed classic Vault titles like The Lion King, 101 Dalmatians, and Lilo and Stitch as kids. Now they bring their children in droves to see live action reboots. That is very true. The problem is that Disney, even a lot of cases when they know this, they still go the opposite direction. It's not an accident that they've produced all these movies that have bombed. They had that one movie, Strange World, with an ableist dog, a teenager that was gay and had what is it, mixed, he was mixed. He had biracial parents. You get what I'm saying? Well, not biracial parents, but you get what I'm saying. Interracial marriage, his parents were. So it's like the movie, they didn't care if the movie was good or not. They were just going down a checklist, and they continue to produce stuff like this over and over and over and over and over. And they all bomb. That movie, what was that recent one that Pixar came out with? Like Elio, I think was the name of it. He was supposed to be a gay 11-year-old boy or something like that, and they realized that this wasn't going to work, so they made the necessary changes so that to make him more masculine. But now I haven't watched the movie, but from what I've heard, elements about the movie don't back up him being that masculine, so it's kind of weird. It's like two movies in one. They know what they're doing because they take measures to correct it before the movie comes out, but at that point it's too late. It has to be from the offset that you're trying to make an entertaining movie and not some political propaganda nonsense. These woke people that they hire that have to self-insert into everything. They really have to unlearn the method that they've been doing for like the longest time that just has not been working for them. But it says built-in interest is not nearly as guaranteed for such an audience, which propelled Warner Bros. Minecraft You know, okay. I know exactly where this is going. And I can sum this up. There's not even a need to even finish reading this article. Bottom line is they realize that they've been messing up. They're acknowledging that they've been messing up. They're putting people in place to try to repair it. But how serious are they about fixing this? And how long will it take? Will it be 2030 before they finally got all of the whatever type of movies that are going to bomb that are already in the works out of the pipeline, and then we start seeing flashes of what they used to do? I've never seen I've never seen a company get beaten at their own game the way Disney is right now. Like they are getting smoked at the box office across the board. We used to go see Disney movies just because it was a new Disney movie. Let's go see the new Disney movie. Now, when it's a new Disney movie, you like, maybe I'll catch it on Disney Plus if you even paying for Disney Plus or got somebody's login. So ultimately, I don't need to read the whole Variety article to tell I can see where this is going. Disney has discovered somehow, some way, they've realized chasing off men was a really dumb thing to do. They should have seen this coming. For some reason, they didn't. And they are desperately trying to course correct. But I honestly don't think them capable with the current regime. It's going to have to be a lot more people that are going to need to be switched out for new open thinking people. They're going to have to get out some of these people that are kind of drinking the woke Kool-Aid, and everything has to be from a female point of origin, and everything masculine is bad. They have to stop taking movies like Ant-Man 3 where it's Ant-Man and he's third lead in his own movie. They were basically going to do to Blade the very thing that they did to Ant-Man. And that's why Mahershala Ali was like, nah, I'm not doing this, bro. So the sooner that they right this wrong, the better off things will be. But it's going to take a long time for people to start trusting Disney again, especially families, because they just went too far left. I'm going to leave it there, though, you guys. Hit me with a like if you like what I do. Hit me with a sub if you like what I do. Hit me in them comments. I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.